So good day, everyone, and welcome to today's class. And my name is My name is Yoda Abdulwasil from ICAN online tutors, and I'm the lead lecturer for corporate strategic management and ethics. In this organization, I also take other courses as well at the foundation. So today we are going to start with corporate governance. And the lecture note has been sent since like 3 days ago now. But so some of us that are just joined, if you just joined the group, just what the lecture note will also be referred back. So, but before we start with what we have today, so what I would just like to do within a few minutes now is that let me make a general overview of the entire course, because what we are starting with today is just a section of just a section of the syllabus. So what is this particular subject? What does it contain? Okay, so let me just make a brief overview of that before we start with what we have today. So this is syllabus guide, and this is the course content. The syllabus is divided into 5 sections. And the first section is what we call introduction to strategic management, and which is 5% of which is 5% of the syllabus. And what are the things that we are going to be talking about in the syllabus section A, which is introduction, which cover 5% of the entire syllabus. We are going to be talking about introduction to strategy. What is the meaning of strategy? And before we start talking about strategy, one of the first things that have to come up is what we call mission statement. Before you can be talking about strategy, you have to talk the first thing that we have to have, because strategy is built on something. So the first thing that come up is what we call mission statement. And what is mission statement? Mission statement is the reason of existence of that organization. Why are you in business? What do you want to do? Which type of goods and services do you want to sell? So your mission statement is the reason of existence of that organization. So once you have mission statement, then the next thing that the organization should try as much as possible to do is you have to try as much as possible to develop a vision. A vision is what? A vision is your future aspiration. Your future aspiration that, in this social year, I want to be this, I want to be that. If I say I want to have before we get to 2030 now, I want to have a PhD in PhD in strategic management or in accounting. That is what vision is. My future aspiration. So once you now have a mission, you have a vision. Then you also need to develop your goals and objective. And we usually say every goals and objective must be smart. It has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be accurate, it has to be realistic, and it must also be time-bound. Then after you're able to have your mission, your vision, your goals and objective, then the next thing that you are going to have is what we call vision, is what we call strategy. So strategy is now built on what? Strategy is built on mission, visions, and your goals and objectives. And the main purpose of why you need to have a strategy is for you to win. It's for you to gain a competitive advantage. It's for you to be the best. It's for you to achieve your and all strategy that you are going to develop, it must still be in line with your your mission, your vision, and your goals and objectives. That is what we develop strategy on your mission, your vision, and your goals and objectives. So that is what we are going to be talking about in the introduction part. Then we'll also be talking about stakeholders, and today as well, we have stakeholder in section A of the syllabus, and we're also going to be talking about stakeholders as well today as well. What is stakeholders? Stakeholders are those that will be affected by the decision or the actions of that organization. So that means that if ICAN online, if they take any decision or they perform any action. So if it is going to affect you, that means that you're a stakeholder. Okay. Then that is syllabus section. That is syllabus section A. Then we'll also be what? We'll also be looking about what? We'll also be looking about introduction to strategic management, and which cover what? 80% of the what? It cover 30% of the entire syllabus. And this introduction one is also what is also part of strategic management. So in strategic management, it's cover like what? 35% of the what? 35% of the entire syllabus. And from your study text, it's from what? Chapter 1 to what? To chapter 8. From your what? From your study text is from what? Chapter 1 to what? It's from chapter 1 to chapter 8 of your word of your study text. Then what are the things that we are going to be talking about? We'll be talking about strategy, we'll be talking about stakeholders and mission as well. We'll be doing environmental analysis. Because if you are successful, one of the reasons why organization is what is going to be successful is your what? Is your environment. Because organization does not operate in what? In isolation. The environment. So if you are successful now, if a company win, if a company also fail, your environment also have something to say about it. So you have to what? Once you understand the type of organization, the next thing you have to do is what we call environmental analysis, or some texts will call it what? Situation analysis. They ask you to perform what? Situation analysis in terms of what you're asking you to what? Can you do what? Can you do a lot of what? Analysis of your environment? What is your current position in your environment? And we have model that we are going to be what we use to what? To do environmental analysis. We can use the pest analysis. SWOT analysis is also what? Is also there, and I'm very sure some of us could have. This may not be the first time that we heard about SWOT analysis, SWOT, SWOT. Then we'll also be looking about competitive forces. We'll also be looking about internal analysis. Internal analysis is that now we are looking about the organization itself. Because environmental analysis, business environment sometimes, it can be divided into two. We have what we call internal environment, and we also have what we call external environment. In chapter 2 now is about what? Is about external. We focus on what? External most of the time. But because the assumption is that we believe that the management of that organization should be able to try as much as possible to control their internal environment. But it is the external environment that you don't have you don't have control over your external environment. So what you try as much as possible to do as companies, there are some times that you just have to react to what the environment is saying, so that you are not going to achieve what we call strategic drift. So internal analysis, and that's one of the longest chapters of the syllabus, is internal analysis. What we are talking about in internal analysis is that we are looking about the internal, the organization itself. We are not talking about external stuff now. We are looking about what are you doing? Because your environment can be your environment can be good, but if yourself you are not good, there can be a problem. So for you to be able to achieve a competitive advantage, your internal environment also have to be good. You have to perform a good internal analysis. So it's when you are your internal analysis is good, that what I'm doing in my organization is okay. I'm attending to my customer very well. The quality of my service is is the best. Then once you now if you're able to ask yourself all those questions, then you cannot be thinking of I should be the best. You cannot be thinking of gaining a competitive advantage. You can't win, you can't be the best if your internal analysis is poor. I led a complaint today that what happened, and within the next 5 days is not yet resolved. What is the problem? What you are doing, do you think that I'll come back in the next time? But your environment is good, but you are the one that is bad now. Then what's to be talking about method of development? How can organization grow? An organization can grow in two ways. There's what we call internal, and there's also what we call external. In your study text, they will call it organic and also inorganic. So organization can grow as a result of your own internal factors. An organization can also grow as the combination of different organizations. We can do mergers and acquisitions. And that's why we say in the financial management that 2 + 2 equal to what? Equal to 5. The remaining one is the is the synergy. Meaning that if one company is performing better, if one company if two companies now, like Access and Diamond now, if they are what they merge their operation together, the result could have been better as if it is only what Access Bank or Diamond that is acting alone. We also have strategic implementation as well. Whatever the strategy that you have determined, then you also need to implement it. Then we also have functional strategy. Those are from the word functional. They are operational strategy. Strategy of what? Day to day, the finance strategy. We have the HR. We have the marketing. We have the research and development strategy. We'll also be looking about that. And one of the syllabus section C is what we call risk management. And please, let me inform you, being today is the first class, that one of the way to make your path, for you to pass this particular subject, one of the area that you have to know very well is risk management. And it is not much. And it is just 2 chapters of your study text. Where's your study? Okay, let me show you something. Let's corporate strategic management, so that you're also going to see it as well. So it is very, very it is not even a 1 class or like a 4 hours is enough for is enough for risk management, to complete the entire risk management of your syllabus. It is it is very short, and question will always come from risk management. And there's no any question in risk management that has not been examined before, because it's a very short chapter. Look at this. This is your study text. So you can see now, chapter 9 and 10 deal with risk management, and it is very, very short. And question will always come from there. Let's be honest with ourselves. We can't know everything, but there are some things that we have to know, whether we like it or not. You have to know it. And it is not hard to learn. It's a very interesting chapter. Then after risk management, and the main word, what we are going to be talking about risk management is not about how to eliminate risks. Risk cannot be eliminated. You can only try as much as possible to control it. You can't eliminate risks. You can only reduce it. Then the syllabus section, D is what we call governance. And that's what we are going to that is what we are starting today with, is corporate governance. And what are we talking about? Corporate governance is the way by which company is being directed and controlled. And one of the main purposes of having governance, a good corporate governance, is to protect the investor. Because now there's a separation of ownership from control. The agency theory is coming in now. We have the principal and we also have the agent. Okay, that is what we are starting with today. And the last part of the syllabus is what we call ethics. And we usually say ethics is relative, not absolute. Meaning that what is right to you may be wrong to may be wrong to another individual. So what we usually have in ethics is what are the model that you can use to resolve ethical problem. Because in our daily life, in our workplace, we will always be coming across ethical challenges. We will always be having ethical dilemma. So we have a lot of series of model that you can use to resolve any ethical challenges that you are facing. One of the most popular one, and it's very interesting to learn, is what we call the 5-question model. That if you are facing with any ethical challenges, if you want to make ethical decision making, before you go ahead, ask yourself 5 questions. That's what we call 5 questions. Ask yourself these 5 questions, and if the answer is yes, then that particular decision is ethical, it's correct, you can go ahead. One of the first questions that you're going to ask yourself, is it profitable? You need to ask yourself that. Yes or what? Is it yes or no answer? Just like a referendum. The first question you're going to ask yourself is that, is it profitable? Then you're also going to ask yourself that is it fair? You're also going to ask yourself that is it right? You're also going to ask yourself that is it legal? And the last question you are going to ask yourself is that, is it profitable or environmentally sound? Meaning that, is this something that you can continue to do? Then In ethics, we'll also be talking about sustainability. We'll also be talking about sustainability reporting as well. So this is what the general overview of the syllabus. And we are going to start with what? Governance. From governance, we go to risk management, because risk management is part of what? Corporate governance. Okay. So it's a very interesting word. It's a very interesting subject. So what you just need to do, your driving force should be about what? Understand the terms. Understand what? Understand the concept. Okay? Understand the word. Try as much as possible to, your driving force should be what? Understand the concept. Okay? And God is going to make it easy for every one of us. You all passed by God. So let's start with what we have for today, which is what? Corporate what? We are starting with what? Corporate governance. All right. So what our learning objective at the end of this particular word? We should be able to talk about the words. We should be able to talk about the nature and significance of words of corporate governance, and what are the trends to corporate governance. These are what the learning objectives. Okay. Let's now start with what is the meaning of corporate governance. And one of the reasons why we, is a two terms, is a two sentence, corporate and governance. And when we say governance, governance is about what? It's about directing and what? Controlling the affair of a particular whether it's a particular country, is a state, is a local government, is a what? Is governance. Governance is about directing and controlling. So when we now say what? When we now say corporate now, this is a word, it's a system by which companies are what? Directed and controlled. The way by which organization is being directed and controlled is what we call what? Corporate governance. Please don't forget. Corporate governance is what? Corporate governance can be defined as the way by which company is being directed and what? And controlled. The way by which we direct organization is what we call what? Is what we call corporate what? Governance. Okay. Corporate governance can be defined as what? The way by which organization is being what? Is being directed and what? And controlled. That is what? Governance. And why do we need corporate governance? One of the reasons why we need what? Corporate governance is as a result of what? Separation of ownership from control. Is as a result of what? Is as a result of what? Separation of ownership from control. Meaning that what? We have two parties now. There's one party that is providing the fund. There's one party that is what? That is managing the day-to-day affairs of this company. So once there's a separation of ownership from control now, then we need to have governance. We need to have a what? We need to have a what? A framework that will protect the investor. That, oh, don't worry. And let me ask every one of us a certain question now. Let's say, for example, now tomorrow, you go to work Monday to Friday, but maybe you also have a business. Let's say you have a shop now. But what you just have, okay, you have a shop and you employ a sales boy or a sales girl to be managing it on your to be managing it on your behalf. Let me now ask you this question. Who do you think understand the business? Do you think you understand the business than the sales boy or the sales girl? Or the sales girl understand the business than you? Let me come again. I need please. You need to be sending this message to the chat box now. That you have you have a shop now, okay? And you are working Monday to Friday now, and this Saturday now, you attend ICAN class. And you have a shop now, and you employ someone that is managing, is the one, oh, tomorrow night is Monday, to open the shop, to close, and everything. Who do you think understand the business? Do you think you understand the business and the word? And that's it.
No, you be.
Oh, sorry. Please only try as much as possible to almost ourselves if your environment is not good. So who do you think understand the business? If your environment is cool, you can unmute yourself. Let me also hear from us as well. Who do you think understand the business?
The sales boy or the sales girl that understand the business more than the person who owns it.
Okay, thank you very much. And majority of the word of the child is also what? The sales word. The salesperson understand the word, understand the business. So what we now need to have governance now is now to protect you. Because on Monday now, you go to work. Okay? So we now need governance now that what? That will give you what? That will give you rest of mind. That, oh, don't worry. We are checking the what? We are checking the activities of the salesperson. So governance is going to give you what? It's going to give you rest of mind. And if a country now, if they have a good corporate governance, it will also have a what? A positive impact on the what? On the economy as well. If it is what? If it is Africa, as at now, if it is what? If I want to invest in what? In any African country, based on their corporate governance, if I'm using what? Their corporate governance as the what? As indicators of my what? Investment, I'm going to invest in South Africa. I'm going to invest in what? I'm going to invest in South Africa. South Africa have a what? A good corporate governance code. And their corporate governance code is what we call, what's the name? We call this King's Report. They are also part of the world of the Commonwealth as well. At least South Africa is part of the Commonwealth. Nigeria, we're also part of the Commonwealth. But in terms of what your code of corporate governance, South Africa is good in that. So what are some of the questions that corporate governance is going to give answer to? In what interest is the company governed? And the company should be governed based on the interest of the word of the shareholder, based on the interest of the word of the principal. Oh, please, someone say I can't hear anything. Please, can you hear me? There's a need for me to change my network. Please, someone, that everybody has to be carried along. Please, can you okay?
I think your network is okay. Maybe he or she should be the one to check his or her own network.
All right.
That's my thought. Yeah.
Okay. So, and another one is that what? Who has the power to make decision for a company? Who has the power? Who has the power to make decision? And the power to make decision usually lies on the what of the director. For what aim or the purpose are those power being used? What do you use it for? Is it for your own personal interest or for the purpose of the business as well? In what manner are those power used? Are you using what? In aggressive? Is there what? A fair competitors among your work, among other companies as well? Who else might influence the governance? That is, apart from the shareholder, who can also influence the what? The governance. And it's our stakeholders. Are the governance of the company held account for the way in which they use their power? Yes. Corporate governance should be able to give answer to that there should be what? Accountability. How is risk managed? And that's why I'm starting with what? That's why I'm starting with what? With corporate governance, because corporate risk management is part of what? Risk management is part of what? It's part of corporate governance. So now, and like I said earlier, that one of the reasons why we need corporate governance is as a result of what? Separation of ownership from control. In a sole proprietorship business, there's no governance because the ownership is not separated from what? From the business. Even in partnership, because the partner are involved. So there's a less corporate governance because the partners are not really what? Separated from the business. The partnership business are still being run by the partners as well. So once we have a two-party involved, someone is providing the fund, someone is managing, then we now need to have what? Corporate governance. And we all advocated for, there should be what? Good governance. Good governance is based on what? It's based on certain key concepts and practice, which are described, which we are still going to be talking about later. Concept of what? Good corporate governance: equality, integrity, honesty, accountability, clear responsibility. But Bad governance occurs when the entity is governed in a way that is what? Inconsistent with certain concept and practice. There's no equality. Because in governance, we usually preach for what? Equality. The way you treat someone that have 1 unit should also be the way you treat someone that have 10,000 units of shares. So there was always a what? There's always a problem. The salesperson that is managing this business on your behalf, he also have his own interest. You, as the what? As the provider of finance, you also have your own interest. You can see now there's a problem. So, but what? We are advocating for the salesperson that please let the what? The principal interest should come first. You know, that's one of the what? That's one of the duties of agents. Is the what? The interest of the principal should what? Should come first. Then why do we need corporate governance? Why do we need to study this particular course? Why are we having a section for it called corporate what? Corporate governance? Well, there are some institutions now that are doing what? A master degree in what? In corporate governance. So why do we need to have it? Because it's a very important thing for every economy. Because the investor, I have money, but I don't want to lose my money. So if you have a good corporate governance in your world, in your economy, then it will attract what? More investment as well. What is the need? What's the significance? What is the objective of having a good corporate governance? And in the other words, let me give you a brief background of corporate governance. In the 18th century, it's one of the background is based on what? UK. There's a company that the head office is in England. They call it what? South Sea. And if you're in what? England now, if you're talking about the South Sea, those are the people in the world, in the Spain, in the what? In the Mexico. So the head office is in what? Is in England, and the majority of the investors are also in what? In England. So, but the director, they are in the what? They are in the Mexico, the Spain part. So the only way the investor will receive what? Information about how this company is managed is when the director comes to England, and the director is telling the principal that everything is fine, the company is doing well, because there's no newspaper, there's no any means of communication then. So, but there's a time the company is not there's a war during that time. So this company it really affect this company. And the directors, so they are still collecting money from people in they are still collecting money from people in England to invest. So they are using that money to sell their own shares. And within a couple of time, this company failed. So what the people in UK started shouting is they started pressuring the government that you need to do something. And the response of the government then is that they banned They banned corporation, meaning that companies are not allowed to issue shares. But their counterpart now in US is still companies are still allowed to issue shares. So within a couple of time, the government have to reverse this decision. They have to reverse this decision. Because if you say companies should not ban corporation, it will limit their growth, and it will have a certain to have a direct impact on the economic as well. So they have to do what now? They have to reverse such decision. And they also came up with a code as well. And the shareholders as well, you also have something to say in corporate governance. You are very important stakeholders, at least shareholders, for example. Because if you discover that this company is not doing very well, what you do, the option that you have now is to sell is to share your share. But just like, for example, now you have a sick dog and the dog is not okay, what you do, you sell it to another person cannot take care of the dog, is also sell it to another person. Eventually this company this dog will die. And when you are not selling your share now, the other option that you have is what we call shareholder activism, meaning that you also need to talk to the company. And that's why when we get deep in corporate governance, we have what you call a director called what SID, senior what independent director. Don't worry, we're still going to below. So why do we need this? We need this so that we're able to restore investor what confidence. When I was in school, my supervisor told me one time, there's a professor in our faculty, is a word, he deal with what the stock market binds and just like a broker. And there was a time, when we have the depression and he lose a lot of his fund. So it was the little one that is left now that I have to go and write his master before he now come back to fully in academic now. So now, if you are not preaching for someone like that you don't have a good framework in place, that, oh, come and buy shares again. It will be a problem. So we need corporate governance so that it will also it will restore the public confidence. So that if I'm calling that, oh, come and buy shares, companies, because in the olden day we have a lot of corporate failure. And if company fail, who are going to the investor will lose. So we need corporate governance in order to address to increase the confidence of the public. We also need the good corporate governance. One of the significant of the objective is to reduce the excessive remuneration of the director, despite the poor performance of the company. We are still going to talk about director remuneration. Director also needs to be remunerated. It is good, but it should not be excessive. It should be fair and should be competitive. But when the company is not performing very well and the director keep on increasing their shares, there will be problem. Even when the company is performing better and the director is trying to increase their remuneration, there can be certain problem. And that's what happened in the world. There's a company in the UK called British Gas. British Gas is performing very well. And what the director saying, they want to increase their remuneration. And majority of British Gas shareholders they are institutional investors. And this institutional investor has voted by Prosy, saying that anything that the director wish for, they are in support. And we have some small shareholders outside protesting that the director should not increase their So you can see now that the company is performing better, but the shareholders don't still increase in their remuneration. So if you are a shareholder, don't be part of that. If your company performance is good, if the AGM, the director is saying that they want to increase, vote in support of that as well. They're also human beings. To fight against corruption and promote good labor relationship and safeguard the right of the consumer as well. To fight against corruption, corporate governance is also meant to address that, and to safeguard the right of the consumer, to safeguard the right of the customer. Because if there's no good corporate governance, it will affect the customer as well. To ensure audit committee assists the board of directors. Yes, we'll also be talking about audit committee as well. They also have work to say. Even though there's a section in CAMA that made it mandatory for public interest entity to have audit committee, and every company is mandatory. You must have audit committee. One of the most important committee that every corporate organization must have is 4. Is that what we call audit committee? You must have what we call risk management committee. You must also have what we call nomination committee, and you must also have what we call remuneration committee, audit committee, nomination committee, remuneration committee, and what else? Audit, remuneration, nomination. And what else? I think there are 4. We have remuneration, we have nomination, we have audit, and we also have risk management committee. Risk management committee, nomination committee, audit committee, and nomination as well. Nomination, risk, audit. To prevent we also have to ensure protection of shareholders' right and privilege. We also need we need corporate governance for that. To prevent corporate theft and fraud. Because one of the reasons why some companies fail is as a result of corporate theft. And that's why in audit, we usually say that there are 2 types of fraud. There's what we call organization fraud, And there's also what we call employee fraud. Organization also commit fraud. Employee can also commit fraud. Because if you are we are doing a fake advert now, that if you buy this particular material, it's going to use for what? It's going to last for what? For 10 hours. And at the end of the day, it does not last. So that's it's a corporate threat. You are doing a fake advert now, and it's a theft. To prevent exploitation as well. So these are some of the need why we need to have corporate governance. So what are the trends to effective? What are the problems? What are some of the indicators that if they are present, we are not going to have effective corporate governance? And we all advocate for for effective corporate governance. So what are some of the indicators that if they are present, what are some of the problems that if these things are present, then corporate governance is not going to be effective? One, lack of information to your shareholders. Lack of information to your shareholders. If you do not give enough there's no full disclosure. In corporate governance, we advocated for transparency and full disclosure. If your profit is this, let everybody know. So provide the world. And that's why sometimes some annual reports can be close to 500 pages. Especially the US listed company. We look at Tesla reports, it's close to 500 pages. Even the Dangote now is around it's close to 300 pages. So there has to be give them the full information. So if there's a lack of information to your shareholder, it's a problem. Then another one, the shareholder, you are the one that is causing this. Poor attendance of the AGM. Most of your company they will always send you the notification that, but when last do you attend? And after in the long run, you'll be complaining that the company is not performing very well when you did not attend the AGM. So poor attendance of the AGM by the investor is also a problem. And it is your right. The company will always send you the notification of their AGM and some of the resolution that they're expected to pass. But when last do you attend? Even though there's no COVID, when last do you attend? Another one is persistent manipulation of the financial statement through window dressing and fit. We continue to manipulate your financial statement is a problem. All sorts of accounting re-engineering is a problem. Another one is lack of compliance with accounting and and ethical standard. Lack of compliance with accounting and ethical standard. If IS 38 now is saying that all research costs should be expensed, and you're not capitalizing research costs, what's the problem? You are not complying with the accounting standard. It's also a problem. Poor internal control system. And we'll be talking about internal control system in corporate governance as well. You have to have a good internal control so that it will safeguard the assets of the company, so that it will ensure hygienist to management policy, so that it will also it can also eliminate fraud as well. So if you have a poor internal control, is also a trend to effective corporate governance. Lack of probity, honesty, lack of transparency, lack of accountability by the director. There's a responsibility that is given to you. And once there's a responsibility, the next thing that will come in is accountability. Lack of corporate code of ethics is also a problem. So as a company, you should be able to issue a code of ethics to your employees so that they will know. And don't worry, very soon we'll be talking about we have that in ethics as well. Corporate code of ethics. Agency problem is also another one, and we are going to be looking about that today as well. So these are some of the trends that if they are present, corporate governance is not going to be effective. Lack of information to your shareholders, poor attendance of the AGM by the investor, manipulation of your financial statement, non-compliance with accounting and ethical standard, poor internal control. Then why will a company fail? Why will company fail? Corporate governance failures and what and causes. Let's not even be looking about what. Let's look about our home country. Maybe when we are what? When we are young, there are some companies that exist there, but nowadays they are nowhere. Why? Why do we have that? Please, maybe some of us, when we were in primary school, there are some companies that exist, but now we don't find them anymore. What happened? So corporate failures, corporate governance failures, and causes. These are some of the things that cause corporate failure. And when you move on in to the final stage, we have in the financial management, we also have what we call corporate failure. And there's a 10 commandments of corporate failure, that if company is doing this, then the company will fail. And it was given by one management scholar called Rossi and Kami in 1973. It's the 10 commandments of corporate failure. So that if you are doing any of this, then you are going to fail. Poor entity management by the director. If you don't have the proper planning, you fail. Single dominant individual, just as in case of partnership. If one partner leave the business, that can bring the partnership business to an end. There are some times, if you remember in your foundation level or in our elementary study, we can be asked to prepare realization account. But the main reason why they're asking us to prepare realization account is because of there's one partner that have leave. And as a result of that, that's what brings about the dissolution. Single dominant individual. We also have unreliable financial reporting. Financial reporting is not reliable. You are not complying with the standard. If you are doing this, that company will fail. Incompetent director. Also another one. Lack of close involvement of institutional shareholders. And that was the case of British Gas that was giving we're also going to talk about these institutional investors. The insurance firm, the example of the mutual fund, the pensions company, they are institutional shareholders. And they have a large amount of money to invest. So the institutional investor also have a role to play. There has to be you have to do close involvement with the company. What are they doing? It's not just about the company is making profit, then my investment is secure. No, not compliance with the standard. We have many of them. Capitalization of expenses, poor risk management, expenses that you're supposed to debit your P&L with, you are not doing You're not debiting your asset down. Poor risk management, window dressing, weak internal control system. Those are corporate governance failures. Then what are the scope now? Let's not be talking about the scope of corporate governance. That is, in this particular corporate governance now, these are the 7 things that we are going to be talking about. From the beginning that we are starting with now. Everything that we are going to be talking about from the beginning of the corporate governance to the end is these 7 things that we are going to be talking about. Called corporate governance issues in corporate governance, or some texts will call it scope of corporate governance. So in corporate governance, what are some of the things we are going to be talking about? We are going to be talking about the roles and responsibility of the board. And this one must be clear. The roles and responsibility of the board must be clear, so that everybody will know. Oh, just like in your finance department now. Oh, I am the one that is doing reconciliation statement. That my roles and responsibility is clear. I know that anything that has to do with reconciliation, whether it's our bank statement or with our customer, I'm the one in charge of that. So roles and responsibility of the board of directors must also be must be clear. We are still going to talk about them in more details as well. The shareholders' right. What are the shareholders' rights? Is everyone? Let's ask ourselves for a minute now. What do you think? What are the shareholders' rights? The right to receive To receive the notification of the AGM. You have the right. When you're also at the AGM, you also have the right to what? You also have the right to talk as well. Right to be voted for. You can also contest for a post. If you want to join the audit committee. Attend the AGM. What you can be voted for as well. Then another one is also what we call what? Composition and balance of the board of directors. Composition and what? Balance of the board. Thank you very much. Someone also say what? Right to receive dividend. Yes, this is your right. This is your right. And that is what? That is another agency problem called what? Any retentions. We're actually going to get that today as well. Because when the words, there's going to be a problem between the director and the what? The shareholder now. If the director decide not to pay dividend, because who have the power to say that, oh, we are paying dividends is who? It is the director. What the shareholder will just to do approval. So composition and balance of the board of directors. Composition has to do with what? Number. How many should we have? Composition has to what? Thank you very much. I like this. It shows that what some of us we are really what following. Right to also what? Right to access to what? To audit report as well. Right to receive the financial statement is also the right of shareholders. Thank you very much. So please, if you want to make any comment, always try as much as possible to make it to what? To everyone. Don't direct it so that everybody will also what? Everybody will also see it. Thank you very much. The composition has to do with number. How many boards should we have? Then the balance. Balance has to do with what? Of what skills, of what experience, of what qualification. And in corporate governance, we preach for what? Diversity. There should be what? Diversity. The board should be diversified. We should have female, should not just be only the male. We should have female, we should have male. We should have someone that is single, if it is possible. We should have someone that is diverse as well, if it is possible. We should have someone from what? Oh, this one, you study chemical engineering. This one study what? Biochemistry. The board should be diversified. We're actually going to talk about that as well. Board what? Diversity. Your financial reporting, your narrative reporting, and what? An audit. Whether you are giving what? Financial reporting, or you are using what? Narrative reporting. Try. And audit is also what? Audit is also a very important thing as well that organization should what? Organization should do, and it is mandatory. Director remuneration is also another important issue in what? In corporate governance. Director what? Director remuneration. The director also needs to be what? The director also needs to be well paid. You need to pay them. They are working on your behalf. So if you are a shareholder now, if you are what? Oh, the director wants to increase that remuneration, don't what? Once you analyze what the financial performance very well and you think that you're okay, vote in support of that. And we have what? We have different ways that we can use to what? We have different ways we can use to remunerate our director. We can have basic salary. Those are short term. We can also give them what? Long-term incentive as well. We have what we call share-based payment. You can give them what? Share-based payment. Okay, sorry, it's not in your syllabus now. That's IFRS 2. And that is in what? That is in this thing. That is in professional. That's IFRS 2. We also have what? IS 19, that is employee benefits. So the director also needs to be what? Also need to get paid. You can give them share option that, oh, you can buy our share at what? At 15 naira in what? In 5 years' time. You know what the director will be working towards now is, oh, how your share price is going to what? How your share price is going to move. And we also, and if, let's say, for example, now you are giving the option that, oh, you can buy our share 15 naira in what? In 2025 now, or in 2030. Well, let's not say we now get to 2030 now. The share price is now what? Is now below the what? Is now below 15 naira. That is what we call what? Underwater share what? Share option. Underwater what? Share option. We also have what we call what? Another issue, which is what we call risk management and internal control. And that's why what we are starting with what? We are starting with corporate governance. And after what? Corporate governance, we'll move to what? We are going to move to risk management. Because risk management is part of what? It's part of corporate governance. So have a good risk management in place and also have a good internal control. Then the last one that we'll be talking about in corporate governance is what we call what? CSR and ethical behaviors by what? By companies. Business ethics. CSR. As a company, you also try as much as possible to engage in CSR. Try as much as possible to give back. Because your input, where do you get it from? It's from the environment. Your output as well, you send it back to the what? To the environment. So try as much as possible to give back to the what? to give back to the environment. And CSR is like a what? It's nowadays it's like an old concept. We have a new concept now called what? Creating what? Share value. You can read about that maybe at the end of this class. Creating what? Creating share value, CSV. It was developed by what? Professor Michael Porter and one professor from economics. I can't remember his name. Creating what? Creating share value. So these are the scope, these are the what? The issues that we are going to be talking about one after the other in what? In corporate governance. Okay? Roles and responsibility of the what? The board, the shareholders, right? The composition and balance of the board, the financial reporting, the director remuneration, risk management and internal control, and what? Corporate what? Corporate social responsibility and what? And business ethics. Then we now need to be talking about what? The core principle of good corporate governance for public service. That is, what are the core principles that we expect what the public service should also do? Because these public organizations are not established to what? To make profit, but they are established to render what? Service. They are established to render what? They are established to render what? To render service. So they also need to what? So the managers that is managing the day-to-day affairs of this public service, they must also exhibit some what? Some core principles. And these 6 principles, we have 6 principles of what? Good corporate governance for public service, for public entity. So we are not just talking about only the private. No, we also need to have a what? A good corporate governance, both in the private and the public organization as well. So this 6 principle now that we are going to be talking about was given by what? Independent Commission of Good Corporate Governance in Public Service in UK. There's a commission in what? In UK, and they give this what? A good what? In the UK, a good corporate governance standard was published by the what? Independent Commission for what? For good governance in what? In public service. They set out what? 6 core principles of what? Of good corporate governance for what? For public service what? Corporation. That is, this particular commission set out how many principles? 6 core principles of good corporate governance for what? For public service what? Corporation. Okay. Number 1, good corporate governance means focus on the organization purpose. Good corporate governance means focus on the what? The organization purpose and an outcome for what? For citizen and user service. This means that having a clear understanding of the purpose of the organization and making what? Making sure that the users of the service receive what? High quality service. And the taxpayer who pay for the service get value for what? For money. Some of us in this last class now, we can come from what? Maybe our what? Working what? In different states. You can see now that what? Your internal revenue of what? Of every state in Nigeria now has been advocated for what? File your what? File your personal, file your return. And some has what? Some has expired because the deadline is what? Is 31st of January. And some has what? Has extended it for what? For 2 weeks. And some has extended it for you again for what? For 1 week. So, and that is what we what? That is what we used to do what? That is what corporate entity would rely on. What is being financed by the taxpayer. So this commission is now advising them that what? These people that are paying the money also what? Give them a what? A good service. Only that in our country is what is unfortunate. At least this money that we are paying, and that is what we should use to provide amenities to us. I don't need to travel to other countries before I'm able to receive what? The good healthcare in my country. So you can imagine a president of a certain country now die overseas as a result of what? Health issue. You can see there's a problem. So is what this commission is also advising that there should be what? They should receive high quality service and the taxpayer should get what? Value for what? For money. And if you remember, one of the way we measure public sector organization is what we use value for what? We conduct value for money, popularly known as the 3E: economic, efficiency, and what? Effectiveness. In UK, they also have another one called what? League table. They also use league table. League table will just show the word, just like a word in a football now. It will rank them that, oh, this is the best word, this is the best public sector organization at this level. If it is school, they will rank it. Oh, number one is what? It's just floor. We can have University of Manchester and the rest like that. So they also use league table as well. They also use another one called 4E to measure their public sector organization, their performance. They use 3E, which is the most popular one. They also use what we call 4C. It's also another way we can measure public sector organization, and they also use league table. So the first principle is just advising us that the taxpayer should receive a high service. Another one is good corporate governance means performing effectively in a clearly defined functions and roles. And the responsibility of the executive management should be clear. This one is just you can just note it down. Clear Clear rules and responsibility. Clear roles and responsibility. Everybody should know, oh, this is what you are doing. There should be a good division of labor. The first principle is about what? It's about service. Don't forget the key concept there. The second one is about clarity of roles and responsibility. Number 3, the 3 principle. Good corporate governance means promoting values for the whole organization and demonstrating the value of good corporate governance through behavior. Integrity and ethical behavior are therefore seen as a core governance issue in public sector entity. Because in public sector entity, there's a rules. There's a like for example, now they have procurement hat. So if you want to do anything now, you should follow you should follow the due process. But they will just give they will just give contract out. And at the end of the day, they'll say that, you know what, at the end of the day, they didn't follow they didn't follow the procurement, the due process. Oh, let's send invitation out. Let's receive quotation from each of these contractors, and let's select the best. But it's my family member, I'll just give you the contract to you as soon as possible. Number 4, the 4th principle. Good corporate governance means taking informed, transparent decision and managing risks. Good corporate governance taking informed, transparent decision. And very soon in your public sector, I think there's a section that you're still going to learn that Nigeria is ranked low in budget transparency. Even Ghana is ahead of us in budget transparency. Everything is when they have done it, finished their work, we'll be seeing the results. The 5th principle. Good corporate governance means developing the capacity and the capability of the governing body to be effective. This issue is concerned with the composition and the balance. That is, what will make up the team. Just like in the Federal Inland Revenue now, they have two what do we call this? They have two committee. They have technical committee and there's also another committee. Yes, I can remember. So what will make up the board? There should be people of good character. They should be competent. You don't just do a nomination now that based on favoritism. Oh, I like it. That's why I'm bothered. Oh, let's appoint this one. But is it competent enough? Because if those that is managing this organization, if they are not competent, there will be problem. There will surely be problem. So who will make up the board? They should have the capacity and the capability of governing the body to be effective. And the last one is what we call good corporate governance means engaging stakeholders and making accountability real. Good corporate governance means engaging stakeholders and making accountability real. And is it not it was last month or is it last year that the Ministry of or the Ministry of Finance, they organize a what? They organize a webinar on what, on Zoom, where they discuss some of the what, the key things in the what in 2022 budget in Nigeria. And that's not what, that's good. So good corporate governance means what? Engaging what? Stakeholders. Engaging what? Stakeholders in what? In ICAN, they usually do what? Is it not last year as well? They usually do a what? A meeting as well with the member. They usually categorize into many parts. There's what? A certain meeting that is for what? A member in what? In public practice. There's another one for what? Member not in public practice. They also do another one for what? For young accountant as well. Even in the world, during the what? Annual what? It's not annual meeting in Abuja. They usually give the what? The young accountant, like me as well. It was a lower fees, but the subscription still remain the same. So these are what? These are good corporate governance of what? For public what? For public service entity. And this principle was issued in what? By in UK, what? A commission called what? A good corporate governance standard was published by the what? Independent Commission for Good Corporate Governance in what? In public service. So what are the principles? What are the characteristics of good corporate governance? What are some of the things that we expected to be present in good corporate governance? We have fairness. We have what? Openness and what? Transparency. Fairness. This refers to the principle that all stakeholders should receive what? Fair what? Treatment from the director. And that's why we say such as 1 vote per share at the AGM of the company and the right to dividend per share. 1 vote, you also have the what? Once you have 1 share, then you have a stake as well. So fairness in terms of what? Treat everybody what? It's just like almost have the same concept with what? Equality. Treat everybody what? Fair. Another one is also what we call what? Openness. Don't hide any word. Don't hide anything. Make it available. So if I check your annual report now, I should be able to see what everything, so that I should be able to have confidence that, oh, in this your annual report, all the information for that particular year, it is what? It is there. Independence as well means what? Freedom from the influence of what? Someone else. It means that the board of directors has to make what? Judgment and give opinion that are in the best interest of the company, without what? Without bias, without any favoritism. So independence, that is, this one is talking about the director. If you are giving a certain contract out, okay, well, the reason why you are giving this particular contract out is because of oh, it's the best. So independence makes what? Freedom from influence. Don't let anybody influence you. So you have to be what? You have to be objective. Don't be what? Don't be biased. Then another core principle of what? Of good corporate governance is what we call honesty and what? Integrity. It means what? Behaving in accordance with what? High standard of behavior and a strict moral or ethical code of what? Conduct. It means what? Having what? It means behaving in accordance with what? High standard of what? Behavior and strict moral or ethical code of what? Conduct. We also have responsibility and accountability. The director of company are what? Are given most of the power for what? For the running of the company. Many of those powers are delegated to what? To executive management. But the director remains responsible for the way in which those powers are used. The board of directors should be accountable to the shareholders. You know, when we have delegation of duty, it's someone that is what is doing it on our behalf. So if I say, oh, I invite someone, oh, please help me to take this class, I will not be available. I'm delegating the duty to someone else now. I'm still responsible for the performance. Another one is what? Reputation. The reputation of the company is based on what? Combination of several qualities, including commercial success and your management competence. So have a good reputation. And very soon when we get to risk management, we'll also be talking about what? Reputation risk. We also have judgment. Directors are expected to have a what? To have a sound judgment and to be objective in making their word judgment, avoid bias and what? Conflict of what? Conflict of interest. So these are what? These are the concepts. These are principles of good corporate governance. Fairness, openness and transparency, independent, honesty and integrity, responsibility and accountability, reputation and what? Judgment. Then we also have a what? A principle called what? Lonan what? Lonan principle. And it's also the same thing with what we just explained as well. Lonan what? Principle. And please have it at the back of your mind. In the exam, the examiner may not make mention of what? Lonan principle. But when you are, once the question is saying what? Theory of what? Public life. Please don't forget this one. Just note it down. Once the examiner is asking you to explain what? Theory of what? Theory of public life. It is referring to what? To Lonan principle. Because there are some diets, if you check the PDF of this particular material that I sent to you, I attached some past questions to areas that we discussed today. You are going to see a section what? Lonan principle. There are two. There's a diet that the examiner make mention of what? Lonan principle. And there's a diet that the examiner just say what? Explain the theory of what? Public life. Explain the theory of what? Public life. So they are the same. And this particular principle is originated from what? From UK. The UK government give what? They establish a what? A committee. And the head of the committee was Lonan. This committee was established in UK in 1995. That's like 26 years now. It was established in, was it 26 or 27 now? The Lonan principle was not given what? Was not given a responsibility by the what? By the government, that they should provide a what? They should provide a code in which what? In which public sector workers are expected to what? Are expected to abide with. And they come up with what? They come up with 7 what? They come up with 7 principles in which what? In which every public worker is expected to what? Is expected to adhere to. So it's not what? It's not only about in public sector. You can, in private sector, we can also use it as well. That is what we call what? Theory of what? Theory of public life. And you can use this mnemonic now. Let me what? Hold on. You can use this mnemonic to remember it, because I like mnemonic a lot. So what is Ishola? Some of us that are Yoruba, you get this very well. So now you can use this mnemonic, or you can what? You can try as much as possible to reframe it to your own as well. It's what I find is comfortable as well. So these are the what? These are the principle of what? Of public life. We call it the Lonan principle. The Lonan principle is the head of the committee. There are some times that principle we are going to name it after the head of the committee. Like in what? In South Africa, that what I referred to earlier, the head of what? The corporate governance committee in South Africa is what? Is Professor King. So that's why the corporate governance code in South Africa, they call it what? King's Report. We have King's Report 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4 now. So I is for what? Is for integrity. This is what? Integrity. The X is what? Selflessness. The H is what? Honesty. The O, I always say what? Raised to the power of what? Raised to the power of 2. That means that we have what? 2 what? 2 O now. We have what? Objectivities, and we also have what? Openness. The O is what? Is 2. That's why I say what? Raised to the power of what? 2. We have what? Objectivities, and we also have what? Openness. And the L is for what? Leadership. L is what? Leadership, and A is what? Accountability. I is what? Integrity. We have selflessness. We have what? Honesty. We have what? Openness. And we also have what? Objectivities. We have leadership, and we also have what? Accountability. So these are the what? These are the theory of what? Of public life. These are the theory of what? Public life: selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, and what? And leadership. And let's not talk about what? Stakeholders. Let's talk about what? Stakeholders. And when we say what? Stakeholders, stakeholders are those, okay, and give me a word. Let me hold on at this junction. Please, do you understand everything that we have been talking about so far? Because you are the one that is doing the big work, not me that is doing the talking. Please, do you understand so far? Is there any area that you'd like me to explain again? I will explain briefly now, just like for what, for 2 minutes. Or if I can continue with what with stakeholders.
Later, all right. Let me ask a question.
All right, now.
Okay, the theory of public law or the Nolan principle, say it was from UK. In what year?
In 1995.
In 1995.
Yes. And the head of the committee was Lord Nolan. That's why he's what is a good lawyer in what in UK. So that's why they named the theory after what, call it Nolan. The head of the committee is Nolan. Okay. Then, all right, here comes on. So now let's go. Stick with us. Please try to as much as possible to unmute ourselves. So now stakeholders, who are stakeholders? Stakeholders are those that are affected by or can affect the activities or the decision of the world of the company. There are also a group of people who can affect or be affected by the achievement of the organization objective. So those are what? Those are stakeholders, meaning that, oh, if the company do this, if they take any action, if it is going to affect the certain stakeholders, if it's going to affect you, I mean that you are a stakeholder. If I can online tutors now make any certain decision or take any action, if it is going to affect you, that means that you are a what? You are a stakeholder. Then we have what? Classes of what? We have classes of what? Stakeholders. Classes of what? Classes, or sometimes we call it what? Categories of what? Stakeholders. So we have what? Stakeholders can be categorized into 7. We have what we call narrow stakeholders, narrow and wide. We have what we call active and passive. We have voluntary and involuntary, known and unknown, legitimate and what? Illegitimate, internal and what? External, primary and what? Secondary. And if you check the word, the PDF that I sent as well, the what I explained everything as well. So let me explain this as well now. When we say narrow stakeholders, please, you just need to know the key difference between the two. When we say narrow stakeholders are those that are mostly affected by the decision or actions of that organization. Please don't forget. When we say what? Narrow stakeholders are those that are mostly affected by the decision of that what? By the decision of that organization. So that means that if that organization take any decision or they take any action, if it is going to affect you most, then you are a what? You are a narrow what? Stakeholders. But the opposite is what? Is wide stakeholders. Wide stakeholders are those that are less what? That are less affected. Wide stakeholders are those that are what? Wide stakeholders are those that are less what? Affected. Narrow stakeholders are those that are mostly what? Are those that are mostly affected. Okay? Narrow what? Narrow stakeholders are those that are mostly what? Affected by the action or the decision of the organization. While wide stakeholders are those individuals. They are those what? Groups that are what? That are less what? Affected by the decision of that organization. They depend less on the company. We also have another one called what? Active and what? Active and passive. Active and what? Active and passive. Active stakeholders are those that seek to get involved in the company's activities and decisions. They seek to what? They seek to get involved in what the company is doing. If there's any meeting, they always try as much as possible to attend. But passive stakeholders are those that what? Are those stakeholders who do not usually try to what? Not usually try to what? To get involved in what the company is doing. I hope you get that. Active stakeholders. Active stakeholders are those that are what? Active stakeholders are those that what? That seek to what? To get involved in the what? In the company's activities and what? And decision. Why what? Passive stakeholders are those that what? That seek not to what? Not to get what? Not to get involved in what the company is doing. And the simplest one among these is what? Voluntary stakeholders. Voluntary what? Stakeholders is what? Is someone who becomes stakeholders what? Voluntary. Who become what? Stakeholders what? Voluntary. Oh, today is what? Is Sunday now. And if I was in my estate now, I only have what? I only have one shop that open. So now, if I want to buy something and the way the word, I know that if I go to this particular shop now, the way they will attend to me is not good. But I don't have what? I don't have option. That is what? Involuntary. But voluntary stakeholders is that what? Oh, I approach you that, oh, I want to buy this from you as a result of my own free will. Nobody forced me. You did not even call me that come and buy. And I go, what? How much are you selling this? Oh, it's 500, and I pay. That is what voluntary was stakeholders. But involuntary stakeholders are those that do not have what options. Voluntary stakeholders are those who do not choose to become stakeholders of that company. But there's no option. Right from the time that I'm small, I support Chelsea. And nowadays I'm still supporting Chelsea. So whether we win or not, I'm voluntary. Nobody forced me. I study accounting as a result of my own free will. Is it my own free will? Yes, I still say it's my own free will, because most of the time my family members are saying that I should study personally in my secondary school before when I was in SS1 or 2, I think I should study economics. But it's during I understand accounting very well. So, and I chose it, and so it is voluntary. Nobody forced. In my family, they are both science. So I don't have anyone that's like a management that if I have assignment I can run to. We also have what we call another stakeholders to be known and unknown. When we say known, those are stakeholders that we know them. Like every one of us in this live class now, we know them. That you are you are our student. But IoT can upload this video on YouTube now, and many individuals will watch. Those are what we call unknown. Unknown stakeholders are those whose existence the company are not aware of it. At least from your registration link now, IoT is aware that you register for CSME. So unknown stakeholders are those that the company know about them. We know them. We know their duties. But unknown stakeholders are those whose existence the company is not aware. I don't know. We also have another one called legitimate and illegitimate stakeholders. Legitimate stakeholders are those that can make a claim. Legitimate stakeholders are those that can do what? Those that can make a claim. That, I want you to do this way. Why can't we do it? Let's do it this way. At least I can remember there was someone that was asking that, this is almost like it's not 130 that the link has not been sent. Yes, you can make a claim. You are a legitimate stakeholders. But illegitimate stakeholders are those that do not have that do not have such drive to make a claim. Illegitimate stakeholders are those that does not have the right to make to make a claim, to make a demand. But you can demand that, oh, the link is getting long, send it now. So you can make a word, you can make a claim. And that's why most organizations will also engage in what? In feedback. That, oh, how do you see our service? For you to what? For me to ask you that, oh, what's the feedback now? Then that means that what I have interaction with you before. Maybe I've purchased something from you before. If I purchase something on Jumia and the lead time is what? It's very fast. They will say, oh, how this product do you that if how do you see it? So I can make a claim that, oh, the product is not really good. The way you advertise it on your on your page is look more fine than when I receive it. We also have another one called internal and external stakeholders. Internal, from the word internal, are those stakeholders within the are those stakeholders within the organization, while external stakeholders are outside the company. Internal stakeholders are within, external are outside. And the last one is what we call primary and secondary. Primary primary stakeholders are those that the company need for their going concern. Please don't forget this. When we say primary when we say primary stakeholders are those the company you depend on them for your own survival. Just like a customer now. A customer is a primary stakeholder. The company depends. Because if I have 10 cartons of Indomie now, it's not for me to eat now. I want to sell it. So for this company to continue, those individuals, those group of people that you depend on, those are what we call primary stakeholders. Why the secondaries are those that the company and those that the organization does not directly rely on for its own survival. I don't really I don't need you. If you do not buy from me, I'm still going to survive. So those individuals that the company do not rely on for its own survivor are what we call secondary stakeholders. But primary stakeholders are those that the company rely on for its own continuous survival. All right. So those are the 7 categories of stakeholders. Don't forget them. We have what? We have narrow.
Say something on that.
Okay,
Hello?
what is? Yes, I'm with you. Please.
Can you say something on that voluntary stakeholder and then non-voluntary?
Okay. No problem. All right, no problem. I will explain that again. Thanks. So please, if you want to ask in case of next time, this is the first class. Just want to ask any question, you can just look at the word. If you are using your phone, you are going to see a 3 dots in covered more. So in that 3 dots, you can raise up your hand. I'm going to see the word. I'm going to see the notification that someone wants to watch, and I'll ask you to unmute yourself. Okay. So let me explain the word. Let me explain the question again. Voluntary, right? Voluntary and involuntary. When we say voluntary stakeholders are those that from the word voluntary, meaning that you join the you become the stakeholders of that organization based on your own free will. It is someone who become the stakeholders voluntarily. But involuntary stakeholders are those who do not choose to be Who do not choose to be a stakeholder, but have but they have no choice. Like employees sometimes you are a voluntary stakeholder because you see the advert and you know the company, you send your CV. You are a voluntary stakeholder. The customer now, you are sometimes you are voluntary because that's not the only producer. The shareholder, you invest in in MTN. MTN is not the only listed company. You are a voluntary. BUA is not the only company in the consumer sector. You invest in BUA, you are a voluntary stakeholder. But involuntary stakeholders are those that do not have involuntary stakeholders are those who do not choose to be a stakeholder, but they have no option. I don't want to become your stakeholder, but I don't have option. Like the local communities now is a word. If for example now, let's say a company is being situated in Bayelsa now, and the community sometimes is they are involuntary, they don't have option. Assuming that they have the power sometimes to chase this company away, they are going to do that. So community sometimes can become a involuntary stakeholder. They don't have option. So that is the difference between voluntary and involuntary stakeholders. Yes, voluntary stakeholders are those joined by their wish to become stakeholders. Yes, you can put it like that as well. Thank you, Mr. This is this? Akinwale. Then let's move on. Let's not talk about these metrics. This is what we call Mendeley metrics. This is what we call this 2x2 metrics that you're looking at now. This is what we call was developed by Mendeley. We call it the Mendeley metrics. And let me give you something. There's another word. You see, let me explain Mendeley first. This is Mendeley metrics. And what we usually use it for is that we use it to analyze we use it to analyze stakeholders' influence. And please, I want you to note this down now. That stakeholders' influence is determined by two factors, which is power and interest. Stakeholders' influence equal to power and interest. Stakeholders' influence is determined by your by your power and your and your interest. So you can see we have high and we also have low. We have high and we also have low, both at the X and the Y axis. So let me start from the words from II, or let me start from the words keep certified. When we say keep certified, are those stakeholders that have power. And your power sometimes is usually measured by your the unit of capital that you contribute. How much do you have? How much is in your bank account? How many units of share do you have? So if you have high power and you have low interest, maybe as a result of you have portfolio, you invest in company A, you invest in in B. So if B is doing meeting, you do not really have the time to attend. But the power is is high. So what the company needs to do is that they need to keep it certified. You have to keep you have to keep certified. High power, low low interest. Keep keep certified. The money is there, but I don't have time. I have different things I'm doing. So the company should keep that particular stakeholder. They should keep it certified. We also have another one called high power and high interest. High power, high interest. So that means that you're you're a key player. You're a key player. We have high power and you're highly interested in what the organization is doing. Any meeting, you take active part, you take active role. So that is you're a key player. You are you're a key player. Then we also have low and low. You can see that at the top. You have low power and you also have low interest. That is what we call minimal effort. Minimal effort. Meaning that the company, don't stress yourself on those type of stakeholders. Just giving the best you can. Minimal effort. The stakeholders that have low power and low interest. Then we also have another stakeholders called keep informed. The stakeholders that have low power but high interest. The money is not available today, but I want to do it. Okay, so that means that is you have to keep him informed. Oh, our program is starting our program is going to start by this also date. So you have to so don't say that last year it does not have money. When I invite him, he did not buy. And we are in we are in a new year now. Things can change. So someone that you have think that he's not going to buy your product, You say what, bring 1,000 naira to price it in a what, the price that is not favorable to you. But that is what, that is last year, or that is last month. So, but today you can have money. So you have to keep him what? You have to keep him informed. You have to give him what information as well. Oh, we are starting day. Oh, we have a what? We have a new price. Don't say that. Oh, what? Let's say for example, now you register online on all this what e-commerce now. Maybe for a while now you have not been buying what? You have not been buying their products. So the company also need to what? Keep you what? They also need to keep you informed if there's any what? If there's any new products. So maybe they sent the message last year, you did not buy when they have a new product. But this year, the company also needs to continue as well to what, to send you that, oh, there's a new product, you would like to come and buy from us as well. So these are what, this is a Mendeley metrics, and we use it to determine what we call what stakeholders what influence. Stakeholders influence is determined by what? Is determined by your power and your what and your interest. Power and your what? Power and your interest. That is what determines what the stakeholders influence. Low power, low interest, minimal effort. High power, but low interest, keep what? Keep certified. High power, high interest, keep player. Low what? Low power, but high interest, keep what? Keep informed. So let's not talk about what agents. Let's not talk about what agents in agency theory. And that's one of the what? That's one of the reasons why we have what? Corporate what? Governance. One of the reasons why we have corporate governance is as a result of what? Agency theory. Meaning that we have two parties, there's what? There's agent, and there's what? There's principal. Please, in corporate governance, when we say principal, please have that at the back of the mind, we are referring to the word to the shareholders. And when we say the agent, we are referring to the word to the director, okay? Principal can also be called the word the shareholder. Agent can also be called the word the director. So now the key things now is not to talk about the word the conflict. You can see someone hire what? The principal hire the agent. The principal have self-interest, the agent also have. So, and the agent now is what? Is reporting to what? Is reporting to the principal. So you can see these two parties, they have what? They have interest. You can see there's self-interest in both. Principal have his own, agent also have his own. But a good agent, the principal interest will supersede that of your own interest. So at the top of your mind, try as much as possible to always what? Satisfy the principal, even though sometimes it is not convenient for you, but it is the word is the principal. So two of them usually have what? Conflicts. They usually have what? They usually have conflicts. And according to what we have this man called what? Jensen and what? Meckling. Jensen and what? Meckling. They say that what? Agency conflicts can be what? Can be categorized into 5. I say agency conflicts can be categorized what? Into 5. That is what bring about conflict between the principal and the agent. We can categorize it into what? Into 5. We have what we call time horizon, any retention, effort level, risk aversion, and we also have another one called what? Moral hazard. That is the what? The conflict that can what? That can come up as a result of between the what? The agent and the what? The principal. We can categorize it into how many? Into 5. Time horizon now. Time horizon is that what? The shareholder is thinking about the what? The long run. Will my company still continue to exist by 2030? Okay. But the what? The director, the agent is also always looking about the what? The short term. And that's why when we get to what? Director remuneration, we have long-term incentive, like giving them a what? A share option. That don't be looking about, well, we have a profit today. Can we continue to be making that profit? Is that profit sustainable? So time horizon is what the word, please just get it. The word, the shareholder is thinking about the what? The shareholder is thinking about the long run, while the word, the agent is usually thinking about the word, the short term. And that's why what in performance management, we have a concept called what? Functional what? Behavior. Dysfunctional what behavior is that what this divisional manager can see that, oh, there's a project now, and this project is good. That if I undertake this project to have a positive NPV and my company is going to enjoy that. But you know that what if you go for this investment decision now, then maybe your what this divisional profit now is what is 5,000, and you have a project that you know that, oh, it's going to benefit the company in what in the long run, which costs what 200 naira. So that means that the profit that you're going to report to the head office now is what is 300. But you know that what this particular project now, it will benefit the company in the long run. Most managers will not like to take this project, because if you take 300 to the head office now, that will be the basis. Maybe you are going to receive some bonus and other benefits. That is what we call dysfunctional behavior. Then we also have any retentions. Any retention is that what? Please, do you get the first one? Time horizon. Time horizon is that the shareholder is thinking about the long term, while the director is thinking about the short term. We also have the second one called Earnings retention. Any retention is that the agent, the director can decide not to pay dividend, but the shareholder will always like to receive dividend. So you can see there's a problem now. The director have the power to declare dividend. What the shareholder will just do is just to do the approval. If the director say we are not paying dividend, as the shareholder, there's nothing you do. And if the director is good and he don't want you to be complaining, it can give you a bonus issue. So that let's give you 2 units of shares again, so that you're able to you not shout. And how do we finance bonus issue? We finance bonus issue from our share premium. It's still your money, because when you want to subscribe for this share, you pay at premium. So that is what we call earnings retention. Any retention is that the director can decide not to pay dividends. They can be 100% retention. But the shareholder will not the shareholder will not like that. Even though you know that, oh, my company performance this year is better than last year. And last year you received 10 naira per 10 naira per share. And now that our profit is even better than last year, they are now paying you 8 naira. You can see there's a problem now. They are still paying you, but you are not still happy despite the performance. We also have another one called effort level. Effort level is that the shareholder would like the director to work very hard. I want you to take care of my business as if you are the owner. That is what we call effort level. But the director can work The director can work less hard, because it's not his business. When I was in my primary school was in the Butemeta in Lagos, and I attended government primary school. Some of my teachers still have shop. So and within a couple of time, we just do a little work, then we sleep. And I was the class rep then, so anybody that you raise up your head. So that's effort level. We can see the way the civil servant, the way some of them will take the government job. But when if they have their own company, you can see how they are going to be how they are going to be serious. That is effort level. If some of these civil servants, if they have their own work, they will take it very, very serious. But since they are not the owner, they can do and undo before 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. They have already you can't find them anymore. Especially if it is on Friday after Jumat. That's all. We also have another one called risk aversion. Risk aversion, in terms of the shareholder is a risk taker. It's a risk taker. But the director would not like to take risks, because if you take a risk and it fails, who are we going to blame? Is the director. Is the director. So because their earnings is attached to what they are bringing into the organization. So if they take any risk and it doesn't work very well, then there's a problem. But the shareholder can be pushing them that, oh, if you have assessed the project and it have a positive NPV, then let's go for it. But if you go for it and at the end of the day there's a problem. So that's what we call risk aversion. And the final one, what we call moral hazard. Moral hazard is that the manager, the director would like to receive what? High interest from their what? From their employment. From their what? From their employment. But the shareholder will not like that. Oh, the director, now when we are traveling, now we should use what? Private jet, we should use what first class and the rest like that. Give us a new what? This is a new year. We want a new what? Company car. So those are what, and the higher the director remuneration, the lower the profit, because all these first class private jet, you are still going to what? Are still going to dump everything in your in your POL. So, and at the end of the day, you still have profit. From the profit, the government will also collect. Then at the end of the day, you have your profit. It's not all this profit that you are even going to give to the shareholder. So you can see there's a problem. So that is what we call moral hazard. Moral hazard in terms of the agent will always like to receive high remuneration from his employment. But the director will not the director will not like that. So you can see now there's a gap in each of these situation. The first one we say time horizon. One is thinking about the long run, another one is thinking about the short term. Any retention, one say, oh, I want to receive dividend, the other one is saying, oh, I will not pay. Effort level, that I want you to work very hard, one is working less. Risk aversion is that, oh, one wants to take risk, the other one is saying no. Moral hazard is that one wants to receive high benefits from his employment. You are saying that, oh, I'm not going to increase your remuneration, the company can still be using the existing one that you have. So you can see there's a gap in each of these things. And the next thing that we also need to talk about is how can we now close it? But let's talk about agency costs first before talking about how we can reduce all these agency problems. Then we also have another thing called agency we also have another one called agency costs. Agency costs. When we say agency costs, we also have three types of agency costs: monitoring costs, bounding costs, and we also have what we call residual loss or costs. When we say monitoring costs are those costs that the shareholder incur just to monitor the activities of the agents. And one of the best example of monitoring costs is audit annual audit fees, because it's the management that prepared the report. So the shareholder will not also take it. The shareholder will also appoint auditor to check the report, the financial statement that the director has prepared, whether it's actually is correct or not. So that is example of monitoring cost. Any cost that is incurred by the shareholder just to monitor the activities of the director is what we call monitoring cost. And we also have another one called bounding cost. Bounding cost. And bounding costs are costs of arrangements. Cost of arrangement that help to align the interests of the shareholders and the director together. Just we can organize a seminar for them. The shareholder should be there. The director should also be there. Talk to them. Invite someone and talk to them that, oh, these are you can behave, how you able to behave very good. So those are what we call bounding cost. Bounding cost is a cost of arrangement just to align the interest of the two parties together. And the last one is what we call residual loss, or sometimes we call it residual cost. And these are losses that the shareholder will suffer as a result of the uneven practice of the director. That is losses that the shareholder will the shareholder will suffer as a result of the uneven practice of the director. Now, e.g., loss in share price. Your share price was 15 naira before, and now it has now dropped to 20 naira. And it's not all the one of the it is your share price increase is affected by different indicators. Your share price is not only about your profit, that, oh, this company is making profit every year. No, that one is another There are many other indicators that are also going to determine your share price. If you have a negative information about about your company, it will affect your it will affect your share price. So any uneven practice that the director or that is committed by any of the director, and the shareholder now suffer as a result of that. That is what we call residual loss or cost. So let's say, for example, now there's a certain allegation about key management staff of the company now, and as a result of that, there's a loss in share price. That is what we call residual loss. But despite the performance of the company, then the share price has dropped, and the shareholders suffer a loss as a result of that. So risks are like I made mention earlier, is that we have agency conflict. We have 5 type of agency conflict. We have the time horizon. Time horizon is that the director is the shareholder is thinking about the long-term prospect of the company. Why the director is thinking about the short term. We also have another one called any retention. The shareholder will always like to receive dividend, but the director can decide not to pay. Then we also have another one called effort level. Effort level is that the shareholder would like the director to work very well, but the director can work less. Risk aversion is that the executive director and other senior manager are usually earn most of their income from the company they work for. So they will not want to take any decision that will affect this income. They will not want to go for any project. Maybe in the future, the benefit is massive, but it's a chance. And that's why you have to be very, very careful in investment decision. So there are some projects that you can invest in, and at the end of the day, it doesn't work. It's a risk. That profit is not in most cases, is not guaranteed. But the shareholder is a risk cavalier. He would like to take risks. But the director will not like that because it's a chance. You understand the business. Okay, if there's any changes in our business environment now, that can influence this investment decision, and we may not be able to realize the potential benefits of the project. We also have what we call the moral hazard. The moral hazard is that the director will only like to receive high benefit from his employment. Then we also talk about on agency costs. We have monitoring costs. Those are costs that the director incur just to monitor the activities of the director. Bounding costs are those costs that the director the shareholder incur. Bounding costs are those costs that the shareholders incur just to align the interests of the shareholders and the directors together, so that two of them will be thinking in the same direction. And residual loss or costs are those losses, are those costs that the shareholder will suffer as a result of the uneven practice of as a result of bad practice of the director. Okay. Then how can we reduce agency costs? Give them a good remuneration, pay them very well. Is a goodwill. Monitoring of monitor executive, and this one is done by the non-executive director. We are going to be talking about them very soon as well. We have executive director, and we can also have what we call a non-executive director. And another one is having a large proportion of debts in your capital structure. Even there are some theory in finance that advocated for debt than shares. And there's a theory. What's the name of this theory? We call it pecking order pecking order theory. Pecking order theory is saying that go for debt first before you even go for shares. Because the debt order, their problem is not really much. You can just borrow from one bank to give you 1 billion, and you'll be using it to finance your but just issue a share now 17 naira per share. Many people will subscribe. And as much shareholder is coming in, is also creating problem. And that's why sometimes you can have a company that maybe is managed by one individual, and is certified with that. You will not want to go to and audit is being done by the big accountancy firm. And it's what you see going to be what? Let me what? I don't want to go public. Because if you are going public sometimes, it creates a problem. Anybody can talk to the chairman anyhow. You accept it. So having a large proportion of debt in your capital structure is also a way that you can reduce agency costs. Monitoring of the executive, and this one is done by the non-executive director. Having a good remuneration package is also a very, very good way of reducing your agency costs. So let's talk about some brief theory in corporate governance. But have a look at this first. You can just read for some seconds now. So the theories in corporate governance. Just have a look at the screen. We have transaction cost theory, the classical of money, the managerial, the physiological. We also have the organization perspective theory, the stakeholder, the system, the stewardship. At least let me just try as much as possible to explain like 5 of it. So we can see we have been talking about one of the theory that we just finished to talk about now is agency theory. So we have other theory in corporate governance as well, apart from agency theory. We have the one here called transaction cost theory. And transaction cost theory, this attempt to explain company not just economic units, but as organization consisting of people with diverse with views and objective. A large part of this theory is concerned with what makes an organization grow to the side that it has achieved. Many operations does it undertake in-house? How many does it buy from From external. So what this theory is saying is that company is not just economic unit, saying as one individual. Company also interact with different stakeholders. That is, everything is not about your word. It's not just a single economic unit, meaning that it is one. Everything that you do now, you are the one that is doing it by yourself. No. And that's why sometimes maybe some of us we do performance management. We have some theories in marginal costing called make or buy. There are some things that you can all the product that you see some company selling, they are not the one that is making it. They can make some time, they can also buy the product and their logo, it will be there. So transaction cost theory is just trying to explain company not just an economic unit. It's not just a single individual, but it comprises of people with different views and objective. It's not just an economic unit that you are the one that is doing everything. There is no division of labor. No, but company consists of people with different view. Everybody will come from different area. And everybody have the way you see this is also different from the way another individual will also see that particular situation. We also have the classical harmony theory. And this is a mixed based theory that consider business as the upper class, as group of people who control the governance of companies to frustrate their own power base. That is what this particular theory is saying, is that it's like saying company is made for the upper class. And these people that control this company is for their own it's for their own personal it's for their own benefit. As group of individuals who control the governance of companies to persuade their own power base. So that means that the power now that is being given to them, they are using it for their own personal interest, but not for the but not for the stakeholders' interest as a whole. That is what the class is for. Is for the upper class. Then we also have the opposite of it, which is what we call the managerial economic theory. And this one is saying is that is still very opposite with this classic argument theory, is that the real power in corporate governance lies with management. That what this one is telling us, that the real power in corporate governance lies with the management, it lies with with director. And they can take advantage of shareholders' weakness to pursue their own self-interest. That is what this theory is talking about. That the real power in corporate governance is with the management. And they can take advantage of the word of the shareholder to pursue their own word self-interest. That is the power in what in corporate governance lies with who? Lies with the word. With the management. And they can use this power to do what? They can use this power to pursue their own word, their own self-interest. We also have another one called what? Physiological word theory. This take the view that governance depends largely on what? Informal structure. It's not about what? It's not about formal. This take the view that what? Governance depends largely on what? Informal. The relationship that exists between me and you after the what? After the class, after the office. That's what really determines the what? The governance. It's not what we are doing what from 8 to what? 8 to 5. But apart from what? 8 to 5, during the weekend, do we have time to meet as well? Or do we attend the same mosque? Do we attend the same church? That is the physiological theory saying. This take the view that governance, how well the company is going to be well directed and controlled, depend largely on the word, the informal structure and behaviors within an organization. Decision by what? Board of director and the performance of the board of director are influenced by interpersonal tactics and relationship. The success of the finance department is not only going to be as a result of the company will have a good office, but as a result of the relationship with the informal relationship structure that exists between the workers. We also have let me explain this one last as well. Organization perspective theory. It's based on the view that the performance of the board, the company ownership and remuneration are other incentives for executive may differ according to the legal system and institutional characteristics in the Pacific. Organization perspective theory meaning that you can be collecting 1 million naira as director in a company in the agricultural sector now. You may be collecting above that in if your company is in the consumer sector, if it is in the oil and gas. So the incentive that is available to the director now, it depends on the legal system and the institutional characteristics of specific country. There are some countries that their economic is very good, so they may decide to pay you high remuneration, and that's why sometimes we have some US company that their factory, their plant is in It may be in Asia due to the labor force. Now, if I establish this company in China, I have they have a large number of labor force. So my production plant is going to be in China, and then I'll send it back to US. So that is the organization perspective theory. We also have stakeholders. Let me also explain this. Is that governance depend on interrelationship and strength of different stakeholders of companies. We have system, we have stewardship as well. You can have a look at that as well. You also have IT governance, information technology governance. And who is responsible for IT governance? To make sure that we have a good IT system. And to some of us that you're in the finance department, when the IT is submitting a certain voucher, don't see them as a maybe there may be a cost center, meaning that there's no any profit, but they also have a lot of things that they are doing as well. So don't delay their voucher, pay them on time, let them execute whatever they want to do. So, but who now have who responsible for this to make sure that there's a good IT governance is the director. So what are some of the things that the director will do? Governance and information technology. With respect to IT, information technology, the director have the following duty. One, the adequate information technology and information system and in place to enable the organization to achieve their objective. So make sure that there's a good IT infrastructure. So maybe sometime you have to change your accounting your accounting system. Maybe you have to upgrade to cloud-based. That is not what, it's not necessary for you to be in the organization before you're able to do some things. Who is responsible to make sure that all those facilities are in place? There are what? There are directors. Adequate funding is available to support the IT, information technology, and what information system, what capability. Adequate funding, pay them what? Let them carry. If they want to do any backup or they want to upgrade the server, pay them on time, let them do this thing. Adequate funding is what is available for them. An information technology and information system strategy is in place that align with the organization of overall goals, missions, and objectives. Just like in the e-commerce now, you depend on on the internet. So you must have IT system in place that will align with your goals, your mission, and your objective. A robust system of internal control. IT also need to have a good internal control. Even though you are the one that pulls the transaction, you may not have the power to edit it. Okay, and safeguard your IT asset, both the tangible and the intangible, and your data. So who is responsible to make sure that all these things, adequate funding is in place, the necessary infrastructure, a good internal control to prevent or detect and correct error in the system. Safeguard of our IT asset is a director. Okay. So just give me like 10 more minutes. Then we are going to end the class. So let me talk about this before we call approach to corporate governance. Approach to corporate governance. And we have two approach to corporate governance. We have what we call principle-based approach, and we also have what we call rule-based approach. We have how many approach to corporate governance, my people? We have two. We have rule-based, and we also have what we call principle-based. Principle-based sometimes can also be called conceptual framework, or sometimes we can also call it comply or explain principle. There are two approaches to corporate governance. Is it a rule-based or is a principle-based? In a rule-based environment, in a rule-based environment, how you are going to do what you need to do is already specified. Whether you are a small, whether you are a medium, whether you are a large, there's already a written rules that you must follow. But majority part of the world, it is principle-based. It is in a principle-based environment that we are going to have if your turnover is below this, don't pay tax. If your turnover is between this, pay this so percent. If your turnover is above this, pay this so percent. That is in a principle-based environment. But in a rule-based, all rules apply to all entity, in regardless of your nature of your business, in regardless of the size. That is in a rule-based environment. Yeah, we don't care whether you operate in oil and gas, you are in the banking. There's going to be a stand rule that everybody is expected to follow. That is what is in a rule-based environment. And in US is a rule-based environment in their corporate governance. So approach, we can see now, we have rule-based and we also have what we call the principle-based. And in the rule-based, in our corporate governance in Nigeria as well, they have corporate governance that is issued by Financial Reporting Council. For public entity, we have the one that is issued by the CBN as well. For banks. So in a rule-based, one of the best example of rule-based is what we call XOX Act. We call it Sarbanes-Oxley Act. And that is in the US. The US Corporate Governance Code is Sarbanes-Oxley Act. And it's in our syllabus. So don't think because it's not in our jurisdiction. And it was tested in 2018. And since then it has not shown up again. So please take note of it. the principle based on the what, and we also have what let me also explain this. International Corporate Governance Code. We have the one of what, OECD. We also have the one of what, OECD means what, Organization for Economic Cooperation and what, Development. Organization for Economic Cooperation and what, Development. ICGN means what, International Corporate Governance Network. And we also have another one called what, Commonwealth. But in your words, in your new syllabus, they make mention of it. But I'm going to what, but they didn't say anything. They didn't write any content about it. We have the word, the Commonwealth word, Corporate Governance Code as well. And Nigeria is also part of what, the Commonwealth. And I think we have like 19 African countries that is part of the word, the Commonwealth. I think the total of them is 52. 19 are from Africa. So we also have International Corporate Governance Code. We have the one of OECD. We have the one of what, ICGN, and we also have the one of what, Commonwealth. Approach to corporate governance is two. We have the rule-based and we also have the principle-based. In the rule-based, we make mention of what, Sarbanes-Oxley Act of what, 2002. And it was developed when one of the big companies in US failed, called what, Enron. Enron collapsed in 2001. So this act was developed in what, I think 2002. So what are the approach to what we say what, rule-based approach to corporate governance? A rule-based approach to corporate governance is based on the view that what, company must be required by law or by some other forms of what, compulsory regulator to comply with established principle of what, of good corporate governance. Whether you are a small, whether you are a large, everybody is expected to follow it. So what are the advantages, disadvantages also there? What are the advantages that, oh, there's already a code that everybody must what, every company must follow in regardless of the what, the nature of your business or your what, or the size of your company. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages also attached to it? Companies do not have the choice of ignoring, because you can't say you do not know. There's what, there's one. Not like that. Just look at the what, the taxation, and let's assume that what. And one of the problems that that we are facing in Nigeria regarding tax is what, different what, agency. There's multiplicity of tax, but who is contributing to that is also what, different agency. There are some countries in Africa, they only have what, one agency. In South Africa, they only have what, one. There are some, even in Kenya itself, Kenya also have what, one agency that is collecting tax. So in Nigeria now, let's just have what, oh, it is only Federal Inland Revenue now that will collect what, any tax that has to do with what, federal government. There are some in South Africa, the instead of what, paying what, custom now, there's they are in the same department. You pay to custom, Federal Inland Revenue will collect, another one will collect. It's creating problem. So just imagine now that there's only just one agency. It will be very, very easy. Companies do not have the choice to ignore. You can't say you do not know. Companies are required to meet the same minimum standard of corporate governance. It is everybody is required, whether small or big. Investor confidence in the stock market might be improved if all the stock market companies are required to comply with recognized corporate governance rule. At least if you operate in bank now, they have there's another corporate governance that is issued by corporate CBN. So you can now imagine now that why can't you have one that everybody to follow? You can imagine how good will be that. But it also have disadvantage as well. And please, same rule, let me take that. Same rule might not be suitable for every company. That's one of it, because their size is different, their nature of business is not also the same. So asking them to comply is a problem. It's a problem. Now look at this. We have dry safe, and we also have speed limits. Which one do you think is a principle based? Which one do you think is a rule based? Look at this image. Please, I need your comments. Please, you can unmute yourself. Someone that is raising his hand. Mr. Arizona.
Drive safely is principle based, while speed limit is rule based.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Any other contrary answer? Please, you can unmute yourself.
Good evening.
Good
The
evening.
speed,
Good afternoon. Drive safe is what?
the speed limit is a rule based, while the drive safely is principle based.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Well, thank you very much. And that is it. The word drive safe is what is principle based. Thank you very much. At least show that every one of us with what we are following. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate that. So you can see now drive safe is a word, is a principle based. We are not saying that word you must drive what 1,000 words. If 100 kilometers is what, if 100 kilometers is enough for you, there is no problem. Just remember your family at home. If 200 is what is okay, remember your kid, remember your wife, remember your husband at home. So, but in a rule base now, we're already indicating that what the maximum speed limit is what the federal the federal road safety will not they'll not tell you the word, they will just say drive safe now. So, but here now you're having a speed limit of what 30. And you can be going to some road that if the speed limit is above a certain indicator, it will show what I. But they are not stopping you. So speed limit, this is a what? The speed limit 30 kilometers per hour is a what is in a rule base. While drive safe is a what in a principle base. All right. In the Syllabus Act, what are the key points from the Syllabus Act of 2002? We have CFO certification. We have loan to the what? Loan to executive. The Act prohibited company and other banks from lending money to any director or senior executive. So it's a very long It's a very long act. But so these are the key provisions of the Syllabus Act. We have CEO or CFO certification. The Act require companies in the US with the stock market, both companies and foreign, to include in their annual report and quarterly account a certificate of a quarterly account, a certificate to the Security and Exchange Commission. So you have to send you have to send account to them. Just like in Nigeria as well, within 60 days under your account is approved. At least your annual report, you have to send a copy to Financial Reporting Council. Even the Nigeria Stock Exchange, if you go to their library, they also have company's annual report as well. It's also mandatory. Okay, your annual report, you also need to send a copy, and it's usually available at their library. So loan to the executive is also prohibited. The Act prohibited company from lending money to any executive director or senior executive. For feature of bonus, any bonus paid to the CEO or the CFO in the previous 12 months must be paid back to the company. So in case of if the company fail, in case the company fail, so any bonus that you have received before, you have to pay it back. Insider daily is not allowed. It's a must for you to have audit committee. That's what is a must. Then we also have non-audit work by auditor. Non-audit, so meaning that as auditor now, you can't do any other work. And the Acts bring 9. We have 9 things that auditor cannot do. Because this particular, I also take advanced audit as well. We have 9 things that the auditor must not do based on Syllabus Act. You must not do anything that has to do with bookkeeping. So if you are our auditor now as your company, like all these tax, bookkeeping service, you can't do all those ones once you are the auditor. So what you just need to do is do audit. There's no any engagement that you can do again. Bookkeeping, actuary service, HR, management service. There are 9. That is prohibited by the Act. Audit standard, audit frameworks have quality control standard in place and retain working paper for 7 years. But in ISA, International Standard on Audit, it is 5 years. Or in a what? In Sabana, in a rule-based, Sabana's working hard is what? The working paper, you must retain it for what? For 7 years. Protection of whistleblowers is also very, very important. The act, what, even though it's not only in Sabana's Oxen Act, every what corporate governance require advocate for what? Whistleblowers, whistleblowing and protection of the whistleblowers. Only that nowadays, I what don't usually hear what whistleblowing anymore in Nigeria. It's not like the first time of what President Muhammad, bro. I don't know what happened. Protection of what whistleblower is very, very important as well. Encourage it and also protect the whistleblower. So we also have principle based as well. What's the advantage? When we say principle based now is that there is no set of what, there is no set of rule that is given that, oh, company, you have to do this, you have to do that. So it is a what, a comply or what, or explain principle. Meaning that, oh, if you do not comply, you have to tell us the reason why you what, why you do so. What's the advantage, what's the disadvantage as well. International corporate governance, have a look at them. We have Cadbury, the Greenboard, the Turban, the Appel, the Aggies, and the Smith report. And each of them have area of what specialization. Please have a look at that and take you far. And another thing that I also want you to please read is the what is in the PDF that I also sent as well. There's one aspect that is what that is left in this approach to corporate governance. And that is what we call what? That is what we call international corporate governance, which is, you can see it here. You can see international, we call it international corporate governance. We have two. We have what? OECD, we have what? ICG as well. So it's in the what? Is in the PDF that what I sent to you. And there's also another one which was mentioned in the what in your syllabus as well, is what? Corporate what? Commonwealth what? Corporate governance. So I'm going to send the link of that. Oh, the link is also attached to the what? To the PDF, so you can see it as well. So, and they have what? They have 19 principles. The OECD have what? The OECD have 6 principles. Okay, they are going to see it in the PDF. The OECD have 6 principles. The ICG have what? It have 4. Then the what? The Commonwealth corporate governance principle, which was what, but they make mention of it, but the detail of it was not given in your syllabus. But I'm going to send the what? The link is attached to the PDF. So they have what? The Commonwealth principle, they have 19. So please have a look at that as well. So please, let's stop here today. Sorry for taking you far. The class supposed to be just for 2 hours, all right? So thank you very much. Let's stop here for today. We're going to meet in the next class, my brother. So if there's any question at any time, please, we can unmute ourselves now and ask. And if there's, let me check the chat as well. Is there any question I have not got respond to? Right to receive dividend. Yes, the slide is what? The slide is already what? I already shared it on Thursday, but I'm going to refer it again to some of us that were, and the PDF as well, to some of us that are just joining. I sent the PDF maybe to be convenient than the PPT as well too. Some of us are using iPhone and it may not really open, so that's why I send the PDF. So I'm going to send this back again. So thank you very much and thanks for listening. So if you have any question, please, we can ask, and if there's any area you want me to explain further as well. It's a very interesting subject.